What up, good people? It's about 3 in the morning. I'm out here getting unloaded in Lumberton, North Carolina. And what I want to talk to y'all about this morning is having your own authority in trucking. I see a lot of people talking about it on YouTube. And so I just want to give my take on it. There's a guy that I watched on YouTube. It's called Trucker DIY, where he gives tips and stuff. And he did a video on it a couple of days ago, and I think he did a real good job of explaining what it's like to have your own authority and the pros and cons of it. I'll start by saying that if you want to have your own authority in trucking, well, let me go back. I did have my own authority for a few years, and I realized, to me, the most important thing to me was the money. So when I looked at the money being my reason for having the authority, I realized at the stage I was in my business, having my authority wasn't the best thing, because it didn't really do anything for my bottom line. And I'm gonna explain that in a second. So when you having your own authority, the number one question you gotta ask yourself is, why do I want my own authority? Is it about the money? Is it about the freedom to make your own rules and do what you want to do? I think that's the most important question you gotta ask yourself, because a lot of people just jump out, get their authority, without really asking themselves that question. If you want to, I say, to me, when I had my authority, the greatest benefit of having my authority was just the flexibility of being able to do what I wanted to do without having to ask anybody any questions. That was the only benefit that I got from it myself. If your thing is you want to be able to come and go as you choose, and you don't want to have to worry about somebody dispatching you, or being able to go home whenever you want to, if that's the reason you want to get your authority, then yeah, absolutely get your authority, because you want the flexibility of being able to do whatever you want to do. So if that's your reason, then yeah, go ahead and get your authority. But if you want to get your authority because you want to make more money, then that's a double-edged sword, right? I say that because having your own authority is expensive. The insurance alone is just enough to, put you out of business. I'll give you an example. I have a clean driving record. I mean, unblemished. And when I got my authority, I had to put down, just the down payment for the insurance was $2,800. Then on top of that, the monthly payment was like over $1,300. I think it was like $1,360. That's just insurance. So you gotta ask yourself, now that's just insurance. So if you got a truck payment, a trailer payment, all of that on top of the insurance, it's gonna be tough. So you gotta ask yourself, do I really want to be spending that much in insurance? It's okay to spend that much in insurance if you have the customers, right? If you have the customers, it's not really a big deal, because you can calculate how much money you're gonna be making. But if you're dependent on the load board, forget about it. Just go on and lease onto a carrier. And that's the other thing in trucking, one of the biggest parts that I see a lot of us truck drivers, don't really dive into is the business side of trucking. It's the trucking business, not just trucking. So if all you focused on is driving your truck, keeping your truck maintained, which those are good things, you got to focus on the business side too, because you got to be growing your customer base. You got to always be growing your customer base. So if you don't have a customer base, then that means when you get your authority, you're going to just be you're going to be at the mercy of the load boards. And I can tell you firsthand, you don't want to do that, because the load board is hit or miss. Right now everybody's telling you, yeah, get your authority because the rates are good right now. But those rates don't stay like this. In 2018, when I had my authority, everything was good. And then when 2019 rolled around and the rates started dropping, I was like, whoa, hold up. What's going on here? So you got to know, if you're dealing with the spot market, you're going to be at the mercy of supply and demand. And that's just how business works. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. That's how a free market works. So if you're going to have your own authority, I say the number one thing you need to have is a customer base. You need to have direct contracts with somebody so that you'll know where your money is coming from. And usually when you got those direct contracts, you get you get a rate that you and the shipper agree on, that you and your customer agree on. So that rate is not really going to fluctuate that much, if it fluctuates at all. So say for instance, you get with somebody and they say, okay, I'll give you 5 runs a week, I'll give you $1,000 per run, and that way you could say, okay, you could calculate how much money you're gonna make for the week and for the month. So with that, then you can calculate your fixed expenses and be like, okay, yeah, well, I can do this. So in that situation, yeah, having your authority, it can work. But just know that when you got your own authority, man, it's all on you. Everything is on you. You ain't got, you don't have nobody. So just know that when you're watching these YouTube videos and everybody's making it seem like, oh yeah, get your own authority, man, I'm making all of this money, just know that they're not telling you the whole story. So just be cautious. And it's good to be ambitious, but you need to do your research and make sure you know what you're doing before you jump out there. So yes, having your own authority, it is good because of the freedom. The freedom to just grow. But I mean, you don't need an authority to grow your trucking business. If you find you a good carrier to lease on with, and I know you got some guys like, oh, why would you lease on with a carrier when you can just get your own authority? That's easy to say when you live in a state where the insurance rates are a lot cheaper. For example, I live in Georgia. Everybody knows Georgia and Florida are 2 of the highest cost insurance states when it comes to trucking insurance. Now, if you live in North Carolina, where the insurance rates are cheap, then it's easy for you to say, why don't you get your own authority? Well, yeah, you can get your own authority because the insurance is so much cheaper. So yeah, it's easy for you to say that. But on average, from my research, it was like if you had one truck, say you had a 2014, I know back then I'll just use this as an example for when I was applying for my authority and got my authority. If my trucking company was based out of North Carolina, I could have got insurance for like around $600 and something a month, which is gravy. I mean, I would have loved to have had a $600 insurance bill. But just the fact that my company is based in Georgia, my insurance bill was $1,300 plus a month. So you talking about double the rate of what North Carolina insurance was. So, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when you listen to these guys on YouTube telling you to get your own authority, they're not giving you the whole equation. So what I'm saying is, know the whole equation before you just take somebody's advice and say, you know, because when you ask somebody, they're not going to tell you the whole story. They're just going to be like, yeah, I'm making X, Y, and Z amount of dollars every month. But they're not telling you how much their insurance is, whether or not they got a truck payment, whether or not they got a trailer payment, you know, and a whole bunch of other little things, you know, that comes along with it. Whether or not they're doing their own dispatching or whether or not they're paying somebody to do their dispatching, you know, it's a lot. It's not hard, you know. I'll say that. You know, having your own authority is not hard, especially if you're somebody that's about your business and doesn't mind doing paperwork. But just know that everybody on YouTube is not telling you the whole story. So if you're ambitious enough to get your own authority, then I say go for it. But just know what the expenses are before you jump out the window. All right? So that's all I got for now, y'all. I'm out. Peace.